Welcome to 3D.sk, human photo reference for 3D artists and game developers. On this site you can find thousands of images, from studio photo reference to street photo reference. We also have a selection of animals on our site. We have some costumes, we have weapons, armor. We also have 3D scans of bodies and heads, clothing, animals, all the aforementioned above, and 3D maps and textures. So now we're going to move the mesh into place, so the eye into the eye socket. So to do that, I'm going to hide this and get out the mesh that already had the eye, so we can kind of line it up with the eye that's in this mesh. So the way to do this is to go on this, if you've got this version. I think it's 2019 they introduced this version of transposing multiple subtools. So I'm going to click on this, and as you can see we're moving everything right now, which is not what we want to do. So I'm just going to press Ctrl Shift on this, and then I'm going to press on an empty space, and that's going to invert the selection, and that should allow us to move everything around that's just the eye. So let's scale it down first. Change the color. Color's kind of putting me off. Holding down Shift, let's rotate it 90 degrees to the front. Okay, now we can move it up. Scale it down. Scale it down some more. We're just trying to kind of get it in place. Just using the scale and move tools to kind of move it around. I'm gonna just hide this quickly. See what's going on. Or you can just press dynamic solo. Don't put dynamic on. So you can kind of see what the shape of his eye is. And we can just hide this and just kind of see where we need to move it. So it needs to kind of move a little bit up this way. Hide it. So maybe we can move this a little bit back. A little bit down. Sorry, up. Maybe we need scaling down a tiny bit more. And moving back. Maybe a little bit this way. See how that looks. Okay, maybe a tiny bit bigger. Oh no, that seems to be just about right. Maybe we just need to move it a tiny bit more this direction. To me, that should be just about right. I'm going to go on the draw tool now. Just going to see how that looks with the original mesh, or this mesh. So if you look at the original, without anything else on, let's just dynamic solo it. Kind of see that his top of his eye is kind of resting on his pupil. So we want to accomplish the same thing. So I'm gonna hide this, hide that. I'm just gonna kind of go off my own gut feeling now. Go to move. See what we've got selected. Okay, let's select this. Again, press Control Shift on this, and then Control Shift on an empty space. Gonna move this up a little bit, and just maybe scale it up. If you're gonna scale it up, you're gonna have to move it back a little bit. Up a little bit, scale it up a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Move it up a tiny bit more. Scale it up a tiny bit more. Move it back. That seems like it should be about right now. So let's have a look. Just move around. Should look a lot better now. To me, that looks a lot better now. Maybe I kind of want to move it more kind of this direction. So let's do that. We just go to the bottom. Kind of move it into place a bit better. Maybe about there. Tiny bit more. Might have to just scale it down. That's the only problem there. So this bit's getting too thin over here. Let's just actually not do that. And let's just rotate this eye about somewhere around 1.3074. Because the eyes are slightly rotated outwards when we're looking forward anyway. Let's just hide that. Let's move it around. Have a look how that looks. You can see that that looks a lot better now. It's just rotated slightly out. Maybe we could scale this eye down a tiny bit actually. I don't like how big it is right now. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got everything I want selected. Maybe just scale it down a little bit so I can move it towards this direction a bit better. That feels a lot better to me. 1.7 rotation. Should be between like 1.3 to 2. See how this looks? Needs to definitely be moved down a little bit now. Maybe we could do with just a tiny bit of a scale up. Just keeping an eye on that corner. Yep, that's the problem there. Can sometimes take quite a while to get it into the place that you want it, but eventually you'll get it in a place that you're happy with. Right now, I'm gonna say I'm happy with that placement. in the eye socket. Just compare it quickly to the original. Maybe it's a little bit too back, so I'm just going to get this red part and just kind of move it forward a tiny bit. Okay. Turn it off, hide this, show this, hide that. So right now I'm going to say I'm pretty happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate these. So first duplicate this one, and then duplicate this one. Hide the previous ones. So you want I 1_1 and 2. Then you'll see that these are still showing. Just gonna kind of put that over here somewhere and try and just move it back into the eye socket. Obviously now we're gonna have to hide that and show this one, not this one, this one. And kind of have a look at what this eye is doing. I actually want to select this one so I can hide that and have a look at what it's looking like. I'm actually going to just go back to draw, move it. And then press Control Shift just so I can get a better view of what's going on. So somewhere around here. Maybe it needs moving forward a tiny bit. I think that's the issue. See how that looks. Now that I've got it roughly in place, I'm just gonna hide and show this one. Okay, so that does not look that great. See how it compares with the other ones. Hide both of these. Okay. You can kind of see here, this is where the cornea is pulling out the eyelid or pushing it out. We need to move it more towards that direction, but the only problem is that it's too big to go that direction. So what I might do to combat this is just move it back a little bit, move it towards this direction. Maybe it needs a tiny bit of a rotation just to kind of get it looking a bit more that direction. So 1.7 or so. That should do fine. Just trying to move it into place, kind of delicate. I can't say that word, so let's just never mind. Delicately. The word I've always had trouble with. Be delicate with it. Very small movements to try and get it into place. Unhide that. Have a look how it's looking. bit more this way, a bit more that way. To be honest, it kind of needs to be like that. Let's rotate it a little bit more on this one, maybe. I've done something completely wrong. I need to go back. And it's deleted the changes I made because of system memory. So let's just go to this and delete. Of course, we still have this eye, so it's fine. We're just gonna have to redo this quickly, so I'm just gonna speed up the video here to save some time. So let's do that while I do the other eye and move it into place. So now I'm back and I've moved it roughly into place, but there is one thing I want to change, which is just the size of this tear duct compared to that one is quite a bit. I'm just going to get my move tool out and select the one over here and just kind of move this around a little bit. Maybe make these make a bit more sense. Now it looks a lot better. Now his eyes look a little bit more in place. Maybe I can also just move this out a little bit. Now what you can do is you can start moving around the eye a little bit to match the eye that you've created here. Then move this eyelid down a tiny bit. Move this up a little bit. You don't want his eyes to look like they're popping out too much. That's the issue. Maybe move out those bits a little bit. Maybe just move up his brow a little bit there. I feel like the second eye is this one. Maybe needs moving a tiny bit more this way. Just a tiny bit. Like so. I feel like that'll look a lot better now. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay. Maybe I can even move this back a little bit to where it originally was on the mesh. Just keep looking at it, seeing when you get it right. And now the transparent part of the eyes should be there as well. And they should be in place. Now you can edit the eye to make way for that. So this one's the main issue. I'm just gonna maybe move that out a little bit. Maybe move this bit down if I can. Might give him a bit more of a kind of, even more of a droop here if I can. Kind of going down a little bit. See how that looks without the corneas on. Don't like that too much actually, so let's just move that back up. This looks a little bit better. So you can see that the material on the eye isn't too great. So we can maybe fix that up a little bit. So I can go to this, I can go to M, turn off everything. Maybe just choose a bit better material for now. This isn't going to be the final material by far. Just select them two and put a material on them. Then we can go back to our skin shade 4. And we can unhide this. And that just gives it a bit more of a eye feel for now anyway. Just makes it look a little bit better. So now with that done, this tutorial done with. So in the next episode, we'll be moving on to the hair. So we'll be starting off in probably ZBrush just to set up some export. And then we'll be going into 3ds Max to sort out the hair cards. We'll see which way around it is, but most likely we'll be importing this head so we can get a good hairline and also some reference. So I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the end of this tutorial. Feel free to comment with feedback and suggestions below, and also comment on what you would like to see in future videos. Thanks and goodbye.